they do find evidence of scorch marks on some of the grass and some of the gravel where this incident is supposed to have happened. Till today, there have been no arrests. Welcome to Tales from the Attic. This is where we tell you stories that could be really tall tales or stories that have actual fact in history. Which is which? That's up to you to decide. We just bring you the stories. Today's story is about a place that has two dark stories connected to the same place, making this place one absolutely horrific place. Now, the place we're talking about is in Angola. No, not Angola, Africa, Angola, New York. It's a little town, and the specific place in this town is called Holland Road. Holland Road is better known to a lot of people by a really weird moniker. It's called Pigman Road. How it got its name is because of a legend of a butcher who apparently used to put the heads of pigs on spikes along his driveway so that people would see this and not want to come into his private property. But that's not where this story starts, because the legend of Pigman has to do with the first story, and that story takes us way back in time to 1867, when on December 3rd, a train heading down to Buffalo from New York City, which was an express train, derailed as it was about to cross the bridge in Angola. The whole train didn't derail. It was just the last car that derailed and went down into an icy precipice. Now, what happened in the car is absolutely horrific, because when the car derailed and it went down at a 45-degree angle. Now, in this angle, what happened is that all the passengers in the car got thrown to one end of the car. And because it was December and because it was cold, both ends of the train car had burners that kept the car warm. When these people got thrown, they got thrown onto the burner that was on the bottom end of the car. And the burner at the top end, well, that came flying after them. That burner split open, all the hot coals from that fell out, and the kerosene lamps inside the entire compartment added to the flammability of this compartment. So the whole thing just turned into one big fire. Now, it is said that only one person escaped the inferno that followed. 49 people died in that inferno. And it is said witnesses who were there claimed to hear people screaming from inside that car for at least 5 to 10 minutes. That is 5 to 10 minutes of excruciating agony before they died. The second to last car that was on this train also derailed, but not as bad as the last car. It actually managed to clear the entire bridge, come off on the other side, and then go off into a ditch. It didn't go so far, and one person, however, was killed in that, bringing the total number of people killed in the accident to 50 people. Now, what's even crazier is the reason why this accident happened. And keep in mind that we're talking about December in upstate New York, right? It is absolutely freezing out there. It is not a nice place in December, right? So, how did this happen? Now, this is where things get quite interesting, because the entire accident happened because of a frozen frog. Yep, you heard that right, a frozen frog. This frog was actually between the place where two of the rails connect, and it had got frozen in there. When the back wheel, or rather the front wheel of the back car went over the frog, the wheel was already having a defect. The middle joint on the wheels were defective. So when it hit this frog, the wheels managed to bounce off just enough for the wheel to come off the tracks. And because this train was an express train going as fast as it was, the whole car derailed, resulting in the epic destruction that followed. The rest of this story is completely unconfirmed, and the people who live in the area and verbal record of what happened has changed from person to person, and a lot of people have different ideas of how the next part of the story progressed. But the part that we're going to talk about is the one that may be most likely. So, when this accident happened, it is believed that there was a boy walking the tracks. He was the first witness to see the whole thing happen. And for the fact that he witnessed it, they say that he was cursed. Fast forward, the boy grows up, becomes a man, has a family, and he has his first child. The child that is born to him, however, is apparently deformed. He has a split lip and a split nose, giving him the appearance of a little piglet. Now, it's said that the midwife who helped give birth to this child was so disgusted by what she saw that she gave up her job and decided to go to the authorities and tell them that they need to take this child and lock him up because that child should not be in public. And, this is back in a time when any person or persons with differences were considered as like evil or weird. But despite this, the boy goes on to live his life and he goes on to have a normal life, somewhat normal life. When I say a somewhat normal life, I mean for the time that he was living in, because this is not normal by today's standards. One of the jobs that he ended up doing was being part of a circus attraction for P.T. Barnum. Yup, that P.T. Barnum who had people on display as oddities and called them all these weird names and gave them all these weird titles. He was part of the P.T. Barnum show. And he did that for a while, but needless to say, the living conditions that he was living in and the kind of inhumane things that they put these people through finally drove him home, and he came back to Angola. When he came back to Angola, he settled down and he was lucky enough to find someone to love him. And he married. Once he got married, he moved his wife and himself into this little house on Holland Road. There weren't many houses on Holland Road except him and another house which is further down the road, away from where him and his wife lived. It is said that when he was living there, he became a butcher's apprentice. Now, he himself was not a butcher, or there is nothing to say that he was actually a butcher, but it is believed both sides of this story are true. So it is believed that he was the butcher, and he also worked with a butcher, or he apprenticed under a butcher. Either which ways, he was in the butchery business. And then him and his wife would collect little trinkets and little weird things that other people thought were not important, but somehow held some sort of importance to him and his wife. And they would collect these things from, different places, including the place where he had his second job. His second job was actually as a security guard for a landfill. Now, a landfill is basically a garbage dump where, all the city's garbage is brought and dumped there. And he would rummage through this garbage and find little trinkets and pieces and bring them home to his wife. And his wife and him became hoarders because they would collect all these little things that nobody else saw any interest in, but they did. Now, because this area was so quiet and had such few houses in it, it became a place where young people would go hang out and do drugs and make out and do all sorts of weird things. And they would also end up on his property. So to keep people off his property, what he started doing is that he would put the heads of pigs on these pikes, right? And he would line his driveway with these heads. Now, that's quite a macabre sight. Seeing that, you wouldn't want to go anywhere close to that house, right? So it worked as a deterrent to keep these children away. Now, in due time, his wife died and left him alone in the house and heartbroken. And it is said that he became an utter recluse and nobody had seen him in a long time until inexplicably one day the entire house burns down. And not only does the house burn down, but everything in the area, like anything that like he had collected or hoarded, everything burnt. There was nothing left. But there was no body. In the wreckage, through like when they dug through the remains of what was there, they never found a body. So that led to people believing that although there was this destruction, Pigman himself lives on. Now, what's even more weird is that a few months after this house burnt down, the only other house down the street that burnt down as well. And what was weird about that one is that when it burnt down, the people who lived in that house were away on holiday. They were on vacation and nobody was in the house. But when the fire department got there, all the belongings of these people from inside the house was spread around the house in the yard in these weird little piles of things that were put together in, like, where they belong. And what made things even more freaky is that from that point, people started having weird encounters. One couple had the hair-raising experience of getting their truck stuck on Pigman Road. Now, while they're trying to restart the engine, desperately trying to get this car moving again, what happens is apparently a fire broke out around the truck. As the fire broke out around the truck, the engine roared to life. So the driver guns the car, gets it out of the fire. As they move out of the fire, however, there's a black truck in the middle of the road with his high beams on, and he's trying to block them in. The driver manages to swerve around him, swerve the other way, avoid the ditch, keep on the road, and gets away. He then gets to the police station where they make an entry about what just happened to them. The sheriff and his deputies go out to the place where this story is supposed to have happened and find no other evidence, but they do find evidence of scorch marks on some of the grass and some of the gravel where this incident is supposed to have happened. Till today, there have been no arrests and there is nobody who is suspected for this crime. Now, that's just one story. There's another story of a couple who were driving down Pigman Road, and there's a tunnel at the end of Pigman Road. There's a tunnel there. This tunnel is super creepy. And driving through this tunnel, a lot of people have heard and seen really weird things. The next couple who were driving down Pigman Road came to the tunnel, and as they were getting close to the tunnel, their dog, who was sleeping in the back seat, started freaking out. Like absolutely freaking out. Barking and growling, and his hair was standing on edge and just going crazy. So the husband says, he'll settle down. Let's just, get through the tunnel. Before they entered the tunnel, however, the dog goes absolutely crazy. He just is not calming down. And so the wife says, look, let's stop. Let's just stop, turn around, and go back the way we came. So they did. As they drove away from the tunnel, the dog started calming down. Not only did he calm down, he even managed to calm down to the point where he just went right back to sleep. The third story that happened that is quite unnerving from Pigman Road has to do with this tunnel as well. A group of friends decided that they were going to walk Pigman Road through the tunnel and come out the other side, because why not, right? That's a brainy idea. So let's just go ahead and do that. So these kids go ahead, they're walking the tunnel. As they're walking through the tunnel, one of the girls in the group feels someone touch the back of her neck. And she was the last one in the group. She was the last one in the line. There's nobody behind her. She absolutely freaks out, starts running. The whole group starts running with her. And as they're running, now from last place, she's gone all the way to the front because she doesn't want to get anything to do with whatever's behind them. And as they're running, the last person in the line turns around, takes a look over his shoulder, and starts screaming, "There's someone chasing us! There's someone chasing us!" And the whole group keeps, running till they get back to their car. And it was two cars. These two cars are parked out there. They get to the cars, jump in the car. As they get in the cars, they notice that it is freezing inside the car. And there's a mist, like a film of mist around the glasses. And what's truly freaky is that in the mist, on the windshield, is a set of footprints. And these are baby footprints, like really small footprints on the windshield. How did they get there? What made them? Nobody knows. Just one thing's clear: those friends never took a chance like that again. So, if you get a chance, go check out Pigman Road. It's in Angola, New York. Let us know if the stories are true or if they're just very tall tales. Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, please smash that like button. Absolutely subscribe, and also leave a comment. Let us know what you think, and let us know if there's a story you want us to cover. Until we catch you again, bye-bye.